This morning, Trump tweeted about the South African white genocide, which has been going on for a while and recently escalated. I first heard about it 3 years ago, and most don't know the magnitude of it. It's straightforward. They're literally killing people, farmers and their families, and seizing land from white people based on their color, and that's it. That's all it is. And the media's reaction is very telling. It can really open up Pandora's box here with this. And a lot of what I've been saying, it just, well, here it is. The group that's always told has the privilege and is supreme and is, well, basically the most terrible people alive, they're really literally getting it now, and we're not supposed to say anything. People in the media are trying to censor it. They're trying to censor this whole story. And I've seen for the past couple years videos of it. I've seen people talk about it. I've connected on Facebook with some people that had lived there, some left, and it's not fake news. It's worse than what they're putting out. They do. It's literally not safe in people's own places, and they live very poor there. They don't have anything. It's all been taken. People are basically barely alive. And that's, again, just on the race alone. And it goes deeper than just Trump saying it. I know that every time he says something that it has to be spun and everyone has to disagree with it just because they don't like him. But in this case, imagine if it were the opposite. Oh, forget it. Or if it were any other race. Even if he was the one that mentioned it, they'd tell him, like, well, now do something about it. They'd blame him for not getting anything done. They'd probably blame him for it happening. And look at every time there's something in the Middle East, we send our best. Yet with this, there has been complete silence up until now. And Tucker Carlson mentioned it a couple months ago. And Lauren Southern, she's banned from England for saying mean things about Muslims, did a movie on it called Farmlands, actual footage. And it's very real and very dangerous, and it's being completely ignored. Again, if it were any other ones being oppressed or anything like that, there'd have to be intervention. That's how it is. And the reaction from the media and the left, it's not to them in particular in South Africa or in another country. It's to the white race in general. They are basically saying the worst things they can about my race just based on its color. And things have escalated so much where it used to be like you're a racist or a white supremacist if you dislike another race, and more so if you're violent or something towards them. But now it's just if you happen to be that color and don't hate yourself. If you happen to actually think that you deserve the same kind of rights, the same equality, you actually think everyone should be treated the same, and dare say that there's never been any privilege here, that people that are alive here in the States and in Europe, this color, we're just like taking it, and there's no incentive to it. All the headlines, all the media, everything for the past at least decade, probably longer. I remember a time when it wasn't this way, but that's how it is. And again, they're just it's worse over there. And it's been building up that way for years. It's not just a sudden thing. Obviously, they confiscated guns. Look at that. And the thing is, they're using the excuse, they're taking them because they're saying that that's stolen land. And what do we hear about the United States every other day? yeah. So it's just people have to really connect those dots and look into it and research this, make up their own minds. And the worst that can happen, which is I hope, is that I'm wrong about this. And that they can say, well, someone's just racist and stuff for saying this on a YouTube thing in America. Well, so be it. They think saying words is worse than just murdering people, period. Murdering people for any reason and murdering them based on their race. That's just... And I wouldn't wish that for any race. See, that's the thing. And there's so much stuff everywhere against your own race. You got to kind of stand up for it. It's just natural. That's instinct, no matter how much they tell us not to and how much they tell us it's not. But most people don't want that for any race. Most people don't dislike anyone. I mean, I've seen a lot here, and I can see why some people might sometimes say some stuff that might not be good. And here, take like the 13% population of the blacks with all that crime. Most of that crime is also against my race. I mean, versus the opposite. Most of it is just against each other, but of the interracial crime, most of it is. But then if anyone does anything to them, whether it's accidentally or in self-defense or sometimes deliberately, there's this big, huge, quote-unquote, conversation about race, and everyone in my race is blamed. But nonetheless, that's mostly the elite's fault, the powers to be, and so they don't blame that whole race for that. But see, the media's reaction has caused just everyone on the left to react terribly, and so you're seeing the worst that I've ever seen said about all of us in general. It doesn't matter where we live, it doesn't matter where we've done, and they're forgetting people of this race have different backgrounds, different countries of origin, completely different. So much so that when they came over here to the States to begin with, it took some a while to assimilate, even though they looked the same. It just, anyway, it's, but this whole blanket over that, and the reaction to it, it just, and another thing is that, well, it's been building for years. It wasn't always that way, and a lot of people say it's used to be similar to about where the U.S. is now, about trying to implement the communism, trying to take the guns, and, well, they want to do that to everyone here. Look at which race that they're constantly demonizing again. Like, every newspaper, you see something all the time. So you don't want to go down that road, and if raising awareness of this stuff is racist or whatever, then just so be it. People have to do it. People have to see what it all is. They can make up their own mind about it, but this overreaction of trying to censor this, it's just, it's very telling when the media should be glad to report this story. That's what they're there for, to report what's going on, the world news, what's going on around the world, and they try to hide this as long as they can, and then it came out in the open, and they're still trying to hide it, demonize people that bring it up. And so that's what, once again, Trump brought it up. I think a lot of other leaders were afraid to, because, again, if you do anything that's not anti-white, you're called racist, and a lot don't want that. He just doesn't care because he realizes that everyone's important. So he wants the best for everyone and such. And so these refugees there, a couple months ago, Russia said they were taking some, and some Eastern Europe countries. I think some should come here. We bring in everybody else. We bring in any other person that doesn't know English, doesn't want to assimilate. Just everyone from all over the place. So how is it bad to bring in some of these? Before it changed hands down there politically, they lived similar to the way we do here. They had similar architecture, similar traditions. So talk about assimilation. Now that's what refugees are all about. And he's getting so much flack now. I know if he brings any in, he'll get flack, but so be it. And again, this is one of those things where anyone should make up their own mind, but you don't want to be so politically correct that you have even the chance of this kind of stuff happening over here. And it's like a warning. You don't want that to happen. And this is the only race currently being demonized like that. If it were a different race, if it were, say, like the African American race here, if it constantly were now in this presence in the past generation, if it were, and if it were worldwide, if like everywhere they were, that's what was going on, that would be that. But no one else is really being pushed out in so many ways. And I've been telling even people that just look up easily to Google this white genocide. It's very real, and it does open a box, but it's a conversation that has to be started here, because we don't want this to happen to anyone. And, well, a lot of the people who have, a lot of, say, the Western civilization, the people that have developed, happen to be white, and they happen to invite in everyone, and that's how it was. But while doing that, it's we don't really get the same respect of just wanting to live and let live. Again, all these headlines, all this reaction, and everybody being happy that the not even just farmers, but it was farmers. Now it's just, again, anybody down there is being killed. And I just think that this can really be an eye-opener, and that this can be why sometimes you see people that are the same color as me, that are a bit cautious and are a bit warning. We say, like, no disrespect to anyone else, but nobody else is in any kind of danger right now. Everybody else is protected. That's the thing. And if people of my race become a minority in the U.S., I know we're not going to get those protections that everybody else gets. The special scholarships, the diversity hiring policies, the having to have a certain amount of this and that, and then also like the policing the language against. I know that's not what it's going to be. I know we're not going to be treated any better than now. Honestly, the less of us there is, the worse we're treated, which does make sense. And that's what it is. And if that weren't what it was, it wouldn't matter so much. It's not against anyone else, but when you see this and you see your own being treated worse and worse as the years go by, you just don't like it. And so there are people like me that just want to watch out for it. And I'll link to some of the stories about it. And again, as I said, anyone who reads the stories and hears this or watches videos on it can go ahead and make up your own mind. But it's very much something to look into.